up, kinfolk? Welcome to the #1 college football show. I am your host, RJ Young. Thank you for watching on the YouTubes, wherever it is that you are in the world. We're trying to get this thing talking about A&M under control because, frankly, I did not see this outcome coming. And if you did see this outcome coming, feel free to tell me so in the chat. But I got to tell y'all, A&M winning wasn't the thing that I didn't see coming. How A&M won was the thing that I was trying to figure out, where the hell did that come from, right? Because on the one hand, A, you can hear me now. B, they can hear me now. I have been skeptical of what A&M was capable of basically from the jump, right? It is a program that has let us down more than it has built us up. It is a program that hasn't won a conference championship since 1998 and hasn't won a national championship since World War II. Got to take it back to 1939, okay? So that's one. Second is, I'm watching what LSU did against a common opponent in Arkansas. A&M struggled against Arkansas, and it was a neutral site game. LSU goes into Arkansas, and they get a double-digit victory, okay? Now, on the one hand, LSU's got the loss to USC, which don't look any good anymore because USC is mediocre, like in the Immortan Joe sense of the word, right? And then we get A&M, who got the loss at Kyle Field to Notre Dame. Notre Dame, who lost to directional Illinois. Now, Notre Dame also stomped the mud hole in Navy and walked it dry and has beaten its last 5 AP-ranked opponents, and they're running the football like they know. And that is how A&M came to defeat, to destroy, to demolish a team they hate in LSU at Kyle Field. Oh my goodness. All right. So Connor Wigman, 6 of 18. Can't seem to move the football with that man at quarterback. LSU was up 17-7 because Garrett Nussmeier is seeing it, and there ain't much that Mike Elko's defense has been able to do to get him off the spot. But along the way, I'm watching how they cannot run the football at LSU, and I'm going, oh no, if you're going to go this way, you are going to have to turn LSU over. Either you're going to have to strip the ball out of these wide receivers' hands, which didn't seem likely, or you're going to have to pick off Garrett Nussmeier, which could happen. And you know what? They decided to go with the latter rather than the former, and they picked off Garrett Nussmeier 3 times in this game, and every last one of them mattered. And I'm going to tell you, man, on the one hand, Garrett Nussmeier goes, 25 of 50, 405 yards. 2 pass TDs, 3 interceptions, takes 2 sacks. You get Aaron Anderson having a great game, right? 3 catches, 126 yards. 1, he took 76 yards to the house, right? Kyron Lacy, 5 catches, 106 yards. Balling out on the perimeter. But getting 7 rushes for 23 yards out of Josh Williams that's not going to win you any games. And then Caden Durham can't do much, 11 for 15 yards. But the moxie that Colin Klein and Mike Elko got to have to go, all right, Marcel, we think we can exploit something here with your legs. You're going into the ball game, and you're down. Holy smokes, man. When I talk about coaches making plays, this is what I'm talking about. When I talk about coaches that are making adjustments at halftime or calling a timeout at the right time or managing the clock correctly, this is what I'm talking about, because I don't know that you're going to see Connor Wigman the rest of the season, given what Marcel Reed was able to put on tape tonight. And you can hear Kurt Herbstreit talking about this. I don't know that it is that Marcel Reed is that great. I know that he is a bad man, and they scored every time he was behind behind center today. I am going to say that they spotted something in the LSU front that said, okay, Marcel Reed can outrun you. So until you can stop him, we're going to use that to open you up. And Amari Daniels did his job. Le'Veon Moss did his job. And you know what? Marcel didn't make any really poor decisions, but he didn't really have to throw the ball either. He threw the ball twice. Right? A couple of those passes went a very long way. But for the most part, it was his threat to get to the outside, where Whit Weeks and them could not run him down. Sage Ryan and them could not run him down. Now, A&M is in pole position for what is probably going to be a showdown in the SEC championship, because I just don't see A&M going to South Carolina and losing, though it is possible. And I don't see them losing to New Mexico State, though it is possible. And I don't see them losing to Auburn, though it is possible. And then they get the grudge match of all grudge matches, A&M versus Texas, for which could be for who's going to get into the SEC championship game. I realize that I am already penciling in Georgia for this thing, but that's because I saw the Georgia defense that I expected to see all year against Texas, and it's monstrous. So if you are A&M and you get in that ball game, the question I have right away is, can Jalen Walker and Mykel Williams run you down? Because if that front seven can run Marcel Reed down the way that they were running Arch Manning down, you're going to have a hard time. However, what I am encouraged by is an A&M defense that would be able to frustrate Carson Beck and Mike Bobo. I don't know that you're going to see the kind of performance that Texas got out of him. 175 yards, 3 INTs, 0 TDs, but then picked off Garrett Nussmeier, who I think is a better quarterback than Carson Beck, 3 times in this game while giving up 400 yards passing. Fine. You still won this game 38-23. So the passing didn't seem to matter because you could stop the run, right? Nick Scorton getting home, the way in which they were choosing to attack that LSU defense, it all mattered. I thought it was really outstanding, the performance that they gave tonight, and worthy of being what is the best team in the SEC in SEC play, right? They're the last undefeated team in conference play, as everybody else has got a loss. And now we're talking about really being down to Georgia, Texas, and LSU, honestly, right? If LSU can get past Bama, and then we'll look at the rest of their schedule right quick. They got Bama after the bye week, Florida, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma. Short of Oklahoma and Florida, I mean, they're not really going to get, those two aren't going to, they shouldn't challenge LSU this year. Not this year. Vanderbilt is challenging everybody because against Power 4 opponents, they've played one possession games against everybody, and that includes Texas today. Also going to underscore that it is difficult to go into somebody else's place and get W's. So we should probably treat them as a little bit more valuable, which is why I'm also going to point back to Georgia, went into Texas and held them to 0 for an entire half of football and didn't let them move the ball much at all, right? And then talk about Notre Dame going into A&M getting the win. Notre Dame turns out to be not as bad as the team that lost to Directional Illinois, but still not that good. Meanwhile, LSU's got the loss to USC on a neutral site, right? Then take into account that A&M would have to go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta to play against Georgia, and I think of that as a home game for Georgia. Like, you're never going to convince me that Georgia playing in Atlanta is not basically a home game, right? I realize the stadium's going to be half and half and whatnot, it's what people say, but it's Atlanta, right? And them Atlanta boys, they pull for them Georgia Bulldogs. That's what they do, right? I think that all is going to play. And then defense tends to travel, but you're going to need Marcel Reed to make plays in the passing game to win at the highest level. But let's say you do. Let's say that you beat everybody left on your schedule, including Texas. And let's assume A&M's wet dream of they beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. Then we're talking about an A&M team that's going to be one of the 4 highest ranked teams in college football and get the first round bye and be 2 wins away from playing in a national championship game and playing for their first national championship in years. This is what A&M has been struggling, been asking for. This is what they wanted. This was the program. When the 12-team playoff was revealed and we're tripling the field, A&M, Ole Miss, USC, Penn State, all those programs had to believe we're going to be in this thing. And they sold out to go do it. It's one of the reasons they moved off to Jimbo Fisher and went to go get Mike Elko to come back and do this thing. It's why he went to go get Colin Klein. Yeah, we're able to keep Connor Wigman, which at the time I thought was a bigger boon than it was, but really it's the dude that they got from Nashville and Marcel Reed that's going to be the guy that might be bringing you all the way home. That is why you build depth at the position. While LSU is going to have to try to figure out how to salvage what they got left, and we're going to hear more about what Brian Kelly hates because they're up by double digits once again, and the mood changed inside the stadium, and they could not recover. I tend to think that is a head coach that's not making a play. Because if your team is losing composure in the way that it seems LSU is losing composure to good football teams with a lead, that's about coaching. That's about you. That's not about them. And you stamping your fist or slamming it on a table ain't going to do much, BK. Like, you threaten to lose this team if you come down on them the way I think he's going to come down on them for the way that they lost this football game.